Well, I think it's important, Jay, that people understand that agriculture truly is about eating, but it's also just as much about taking care of animals. It's also just as much about taking care of the environment. It's also about energy. I maintain it's also about health care. It's got so many facets to it today that didn't exist a few years ago. Now, it did in one sense, but it was kind of embedded and people didn't bring it out. We know that people like to be around plants and animals and people, and we instinctively knew that if you grew up on a farm, but we're finding out that that's a major driver in how we're going to build new healthcare facilities and how we want the environment in a city to be. Why we have green roofs now where before people go, you're not going to farm the top of the Empire State Building. Yeah, you might. Yeah. So it's just, I've learned over the years that it's a wonderful industry, but full of so many facets that we really can't identify them all.
You know, the world of the biotech solutions, you know, certainly on the insect side, there's a really nice advantage of having the insect control right at the point where the insect feeds. You know, so, you know, there's not as much collateral damage, so to speak. And then the other thing is that, you know, the proteins being used to control the insects are much more specific to a narrower range. You know, so again, when you take a look at the environmental aspect here, you know, the new technologies are so much more environmentally friendly and safer technologies than have been used in the past, both for the consumer eating those products, but, you know, also for the people in agriculture that are out there doing the work on a day-to-day basis, you know, a much more safe environment. So, I mean, I think the biggest watch out overall is the food security issue. You know, certainly we are seeing the demand for food, fiber, and fuel, you know, driving pricing up. And you take a look at that piece, and then you take a look at the demand side with the population going from 6.5 billion to 9 billion. Food's going to get more scarce, it's going to get more expensive, and making sure that everybody on the planet is fed. You know, I mean, that's the biggest challenge for modern agriculture going forward, and we really need to focus the attention, you know, politically on what that means in the future and how it needs to have a sense of urgency to get into a solution.
Cool. One of my mentors over the years, Jay, is a guy by the name of Billy Joe Miles, that probably many people know, but I always borrow an expression from him. He always said it's hard to fall out of the bed if you're sleeping on the floor. And you know, and agriculture truly is in good financial times in general right now, best ever. And we don't want to blow up that crash the whole financial banking system because people lost sight of some fundamentals. And one of those fundamental things is that things have to have economic value. And when things are booming, people have a tendency to forget some of their basic economic and financial principles. And I would say be careful of those during these boom times and make sure that what you're adding to your operation is strategic and important and adds value for that, not just because you want to expand because you think soybeans are going to stay at $14.